Hey there, I'm Lonnie Lopez, and on today's episode of One Time Out Left, we have Coach Monty Stumbaugh, who has been coaching for 46 years with coaching stops at Wilson Junior High in Lubbock, Midland High School, Guero High School, Port Isabel High School, Hidalgo High School, and St. Joseph Academy. He's the current assistant head football coach and strength and conditioning coach for St. Joseph Academy. Coach Stumbaugh, appreciate you being here.
Oh no, I appreciate you having me on.
Coach, we're gonna start. Let's talk about growing up in the Stumbaugh household. So it looks like you grew up in Lubbock. That's where you were born and raised.
Yes.
In Lubbock,
Yeah.
and you attended all schools through there and stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about like your parents. Like, what did your parents do for a living, or how many siblings do you have? All those.
I got one brother. We're both adopted. Me and my brother adopted. So brother, he lives between Cloudcroft and Rio Dulce. He had bought him some land out there in the mountains. So he's kind of like a hermit, but real handy man. My mom and dad are from Arkansas originally. My dad was a pharmacist, had his own neighborhood pharmacy, and my mom was a housewife. And as we got older, she started working in the store. She put a gift shop in my dad's pharmacy. So my dad worked. When we were growing up, he opened his store at 8 in the morning. He closed it at 10 at night.
Wow.
And as the years went, it went from 8 to 9, 8 to 8, 8 to 7. It was 7 days a week, and then he kind of cut it down to like Monday through Saturday. And so, starting his own business and that stuff. So he worked a lot. And my mom was, of course, she was the housewife first around the house. My mom was in athletics. She was a really good golfer.
Really?
Yeah. And so they both had really good work habits. But my dad worked a lot. I mean, he was gone a bunch, because he was running his own business. Once he established it, then it was a little better for him. He didn't have to be there so often. But yeah, I grew up there with them, and my dad was a pharmacist.
So as you growing up, did you ever get to work there? Did you ever want to lean towards being in pharmacy?
Well, yeah, I did several things. Like in the summers, through high school, I roofed. I painted, I think, every school in Lubbock. One of my coaches at junior high, him or two coaches, they had R&V painting. It was Richard Muldrew and Vic Hill, and we painted schools. They had a contract with the school, so I painted. That's probably why I don't like to paint today. But we did that, and then at night I would go. My job was to go. When I was younger, I would sweep and mop the floor.
Before your dad closed the business.
Yeah. And as I got older, then I progressed, and I started working the cash register. He had a post office in there. I worked the post office. So I worked in that. As a matter of fact, I started out as a pre-pharmacy major.
Really? When you went to Texas?
Yeah, I went to Tech, and I had some chances to go play somewhere, but I decided to stay there and walk on. And after my first year at Tech, a friend of mine, I played with in high school, he'd gone to Southwestern Oklahoma, which has one of the best pharmacy schools in the nation. Okay. So one of my dad's friends was like on I don't know, he was something with the school. He was in Lubbock also. And a friend of mine went there to play football, a guy I played with. And so gave me they were going to pay for my school, come play football, and get into pharmacy school. I told my dad I wanted to coach, so it tells you how smart I am. Not very, but yeah, I grew up in it. Maybe always like being around athletics and helping kids. But I know my wife, she'll probably kill me for this one. But when we first got married, she'd have the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, and she'd have like job circles, like pharmaceutical salesmen. Because coaches didn't make much money back then. My first salary, I made $9,700 teaching and $900 coaching. So I made $10,600. That was my first year of coaching. Yes, sir. So she would try to find some jobs to help me out a little bit. But no, I grew up in my dad's drugstore, helping him out, working it. And I ran the front part as I got older and worked all the way through college. And I roofed houses in the summers too, So I did a little bit of everything. A friend of mine that went to Tech was a decathlete. He was a heck of an athlete. Back in the days, a 14-foot pole vaulter, 6'4" high jumper, the old Western row. So, unfortunately, he lost his scholarship because he spent all his time chasing girls and not going to class. But he ended up having a roofing business. And when I got married, that's what I did. When I started working for teaching and coaching, that was my summer job. that's what I helped him in the summer. So I roofed my brother-in-law's house, my brother-in-law's house.
So you grew up with a great work ethic with your parents and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. 'Cause my dad, he worked a lot. I mean,
So-
he worked. You know, he would take 2 weeks off. 2 weeks in the summer, him and his buddies would go to Gunnison, Colorado, big fisherman, and they tell you the day they're leaving. They tell you the day coming back. And you didn't hear from them then. Of course, nobody had cell phones.
Yeah.
They would go. They lived on this guy hermit. He was a hermit. He had his own land. They would go fly fishing, catch trout, and they'd come back and have a big fish fry. That's about the only time he would take off. They'd go a couple times summer. He invested in some racehorses. He had some racehorses in Rio Dosa, so he would go up there and he had a couple of racehorses that he messed around with. But yeah, I saw him work quite a bit. Yes, sir.
So growing up, so it in working, most time working, when you were as young the whole time, did it allow to play some? Did you start football in 7th grade, or did you play little league?
Yeah, well, I started back then. They started out with a youth football league. So I started, I think, when I was 10, playing. But I played baseball. You know, they didn't really have a basketball league. I played park basketball. But, you know, grew up. I played the youth football, played the baseball, and they had a wrestling. So I was
really?
a city wrestling team. So did a little bit of everything. 7th grade, in Lubbock, 7th grade played flag football. They didn't play tackle football.
Okay.
They didn't start tackle football in 8th grade. This is way back now. Okay. So late 60s, I don't know, maybe 69, 70, somewhere else in 7th grade. So I played Little League football. Then I played basketball and ran track at the junior high. Then 8th grade, I played with 8th grade and 9th and on up. So that's where we started. Yeah, I was big. I swam. I did a little bit of everything. Like I said, my mom was a big golfer, really good golfer. So, you know, they would, like, members of a country club, you know, or whatever. And I would swim a lot out there. And tried golf. I wasn't very good at it. So I just stuck with the baseball.
Amazing.
Yeah, I wish I'd have kept with it longer. I'd be a better golfer today if I had it. You know, I wouldn't lose so many balls. But, you know, but no, I played every sport growing up. You know, that you could play back then: baseball, basketball, football. You know, I wrestled, swam, growing up. So yeah, they made sure. I mean, my dad's store, like, we'd go play a Little League game, and then at night, when the game was over, it'd be 9 o'clock, I'd go give me a hamburger my dad in his drugstore had a fountain.
Okay.
The lady that ran, she cooked, and the whole time, he listened, you know, the malts, the man sitting around.
Moved along in school, and you graduated, you said you were going to go to pharmacy, but you ended up, at what point did you say, you know what, I'm going to lean towards coaching?
Well, when I was growing up, my dad would sponsor, like, baseball teams. Okay, it's like, baseball was a Stumbaugh drug medic, so we were the city champs in baseball and all that stuff. So then he sponsored, like, little girls, little dribblers. They called it little dribblers. It was a basketball league for kids, elementary school kids. So when I was in high school, he hit me up, and so I coached one of his teams.
Oh, okay.
And it was just crazy, but when I first started coaching, there were 2 sisters, Kim and Kathy, I think. I had to leave it. Etheridge. Their brother was a little bit, well, you're younger than me. He was a good golfer. Anyway, Cammie and Chris Etheridge. They both went to UT and played basketball. And they were all American. One of them was assistant coach there. They were way ahead of their time. They played like boys back then.
Wow.
And I kind of started helping there, coaching them, you know, and I enjoyed doing that, you know, and I went to the school, you know, to do the pharmacy thing. My dad was a pharmacist, like I said, and that was his plan was, you know, maybe to take over the neighborhood grocery store. And I'd probably be independently wealthy right now if I'd have done that, but, you know, and I don't know, maybe growing up working all the time, but I really love sports. I love playing sports. I love being around sports. And, you know, working when I did the little dribblers they were probably 5th grade, 4th grade, you know, 10, 11-year-old kids. They weren't in junior high yet. I really enjoyed it. And so when I went to school, I did that, and and this is what's weird. My dad started out to be a coach and became a pharmacist.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he went the other.
He was he played football at the College of the Ozarks, which is a small school. In I think the pharmacy school now there is at University of Arkansas.
Okay.
But it was a little college up there in Arkansas. He played football and went to pharmacy school. Yeah, so it was kind of he did one thing, I did the other. But no, that's kind of started it when I helped out there, and I enjoyed doing it. And when I was, and that, I guess kind of. And I got close with some of my coaches, and that made a big impact on my life and helping me, kind of showing me the way, and especially my high school secondary coach, and so that kind of guided me that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you go on to Texas Tech
Mhm.
and you go with it was physical education that right back there.
Yeah. It was P. I ended up with a double major. I had a major in PE and biology.
Oh, okay.
It ended up that way. I think if I'd have taken another class, I could have gone pre-med.
Really?
But I was PE, physical education back then. It was health, and when I switched over to the PE instead of pharmacy, it was PE only. It was PE and health at one time.
Okay.
But now it's kinesiology or exercise sports science or something. But yeah, it was PE and biology. Yes.
And did you go right after Texas Tech stuff? Did you go automatically for Sul Ross for your masters, or did you?
No. My first year, I was in Lubbock, and I was married. My wife's from Midland, so I talked to my old high school coach, and he had talked about he didn't have any openings, so he couldn't. He thought about it, but there was no openings. So he put me on. He got me. I could have gone to Lubbock High School, which when I grew up, Lubbock High School, it wasn't a really great school. It was a magnet school now. And I was like, well, they were never winning. Of course, I'm a young guy, coach, and just got married, so I went and started at Wilson Junior High.
Sure, yes.
So I was there 2 years in Wilson, and had a chance to move to the high school. 2 years in Lubbock, and then we went to Midland there. And so while I was in Midland, my brother-in-law was a counselor, and he was wanting to get his administration certificate to be assistant principal or a principal.
Yeah.
So some of the guys there in Midland were telling me about it. You could go down to Sul Ross, Alpine. It's about a 3-hour drive. But what they did back then, you could go 4 weeks, get 12 hours. So you went 2 weeks, got 6 hours, 2 weeks, got 6 hours, but you went to school all day, 8 to 12, 1 to 5.
Okay.
And believe me, there's nothing to do in Alpine, except maybe play golf. and it rained every part of the day. So I went with my brother-in-law the first year down, and he already had his counselor, he just needed to get something to get his administrative certificate. So he got his, became a principal, so I picked up 12 there, and then I came back and I did 3 hours I worked under assistant principal. Then I went to UTPB, which was in Odessa, University of Texas Department of Basin. I picked up 9 hours there. I do this in the summer before I go to work, and then or at night. And then I went back to Sul Ross. They changed it to 2 3-week courses. So you went 8 to 11, 1 to 4. But I just crammed it all in. So I ended up getting my master's in education. I could be a principal if I wanted, but I didn't really want to be. I just did it for the raise in pay. It's $2,500 raise, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I did it for that. I still needed. If I could have stayed and taken 9 more hours, I could be there's 3 classes to be like an administrator, school law and something else. Once I got my bachelor's education, I pulled the 36.
No, let's
that
go.
was it. And I had no desire to go back. So I waited 2 years. And went to Midland. That's when some of the coaches there had gone down and got theirs.
Okay.
And it was in the summer. It's a lot of teachers down there. They're all going down there to get their master's. So it was kind of it was a pretty good deal. It was cheap. Cheap to especially for what you're making. But yeah, it was a good deal.
And after you went back to Midland High School, did you automatically coach? I mean, because I'm thinking you're more from the defensive side, correct? I mean,
I started out as defensive coach, yes.
Defensive coach. You coach secondary linebacker, or the whole.
A little bit of everything.
Back then.
A little bit of everything. I might have coached the DNs and something like that. When I first went to Midland High, I was head sophomore coach, so I did the defense, and the assistant basketball coach was also football. I really did offense and the defense.
Okay.
And so we had like 60 some odd kids. Well, when basketball started, he went to basketball. It was me and 60.
Wow, that's
so. Once he went to basketball, that was it. I never saw him again. And so I learned both sides of the ball pretty quick. And I was in charge of scouting. So on Friday I'd scout, and then I would put the scouting report together. Saturday morning I'd be up, after 7 8, boom, and do the deal when you started out.
Yes.
So I started out that, and then I was tight end / defensive head coach, and the equipment guy, and a little bit of everything else, and the head track, and a little bit of everything. And so I started out on the defensive side, and then I hooked. I was lucky enough. There was a guy named Davis Corley, who. When I first went, there was Pat Culpepper, who was a defensive guy. He was an All-American linebacker at Texas back in the 60s. And Pat's not a really big guy, but he's a highly intense guy. And I worked under him. I worked under Doug McCutcheon, Davis Corley, Ronnie Rieger, and then a guy named David Brown that came in. And when he came in, that's when I could stay, but it was... I had 5 head coaches, a big turnover. But Davis Corley, who I'd watched him and Doug McCutcheon when I was growing up in Lubbock, I used to roll down the hill in the end zone at the Tech games. There's a grass end zone. The kids would go down and have their own football games, right? Roll down the hill. They were from Bront, Texas. I think there's a stoplight and a store at Bront. Not much there. Greg Taft wrote a book, and he talks about recruiting 2 guys out of there, Bo. They were all conference players there at Tech, and Davis was a DC, and he kind of took me under his wing, and I started learning a lot more about defense. The whole package. The secondary, and I'd coach secondaries. I know secondary guys, so that was kind of why I started. And then I was kind of like his defensive coordinator, and learned how to call a game and what to look for, and he was really big in helping me on the defensive side of the ball, helping me be a coach. And so that's where I started out, yes, on the defense side.
And then at Midland, how long were you there in Midland?
15.
15 years. So, I mean, that's why you got 5 coaches you were underneath and stuff.
Yeah, about every 3 years in Midland. They didn't do that in Lee. Lee was a little bit better. When I was in Midland, Odessa, I think, went to state 4 or 5 times, Odessa Permian. Lee went to a couple of times. I mean, it was a tough. Randy Allen was at Abilene Cooper. They looked like a college team. Scotty Pugh. Matter of fact, I played Scotty. He went to UT and was a pitcher. Abilene Cooper won state in baseball 2 years. He was the main pitcher. And he went to UT and he got drafted by the Yankees. We ended up coaching Orange Grove. I played him in 16. And he used to work for Randy Allen. And we went way back. So I remember when you were in high school and I was at Midland, you were a pitcher. Yeah, but that's kind of, I was there 15, so there was some really good football teams back then. It was a tough district.
Along the way, then as you transfer to Midland and you go to Cueto High School, you go to Cueto High School knowing coaches, or you just felt like, you know what, when you said Randy Crowley right there, you ended up leaving?
Bill Littleton's brother's Bobby Littleton.
Okay.
Bobby Jet. Bobby's a great guy. Man, I love Bobby. When I got there, he kind of took me under his wing. And that guy's doing basketball. You got it. I never coached basketball, okay, so I learned. But I was with Bobby, and in 1993, he tried to get me to go to Cuero. Well, I didn't know where Cuero was. If it wasn't in West Texas, I didn't know where it was. Okay, because I knew where Abilene, Big Springs, that area.
Yes.
I knew where Austin was because we would get some kids to go to state track meet. But Cuero, I never heard of it. So, hey man, Bobby said, hey, they got to open at Cuero. I get you an interview down there to talk. I didn't know Bill. I knew he had a brother, Bill. I think I met him once when Bill was out of Iran.
Okay. Yes, yes.
And with Mickey Finley.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So That's all I knew. And so Bobby had told me, so I was from Sarah being from Midland and all that, and it was okay. I liked it. I was, working hard, and I was a DC and the head track coach and the equipment guy and, a little bit of everything. And so then I see where Quail went to the state championship that year, and they got beat by South Lake Carroll 14-6. I said, oh, dang, maybe I'll start keeping up with Quail. I know. So in 96, Bobby called me and said, hey, they got an open. They wanted to talk to you in Quail. And I was going through my 5th head coach, and this guy, he was a different breed.
Gotcha. Yes,
and he wanted me to keep doing what I was doing. I was head track coach, head cross country coach, and like the defense coordinator, he'd bring his own in, no big deal. Wanted me to coach football, wanted me to do it for free so he could bring a guy in. I said, no, coach, if I'm starting out, I'm not coaching football for free.
Yeah,
They would come to my classroom every day and ask me, oh, what's permanent going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Whatever. And that's when I thought I was going to go to Midland Greenwood. A guy at Midland Greenwood had been like the manager of the Tech football team, Coach Bob Purser, heck of a coach. And wanted me to come be his defensive coordinator. Midland Greenwood, which is right outside of Midland.
Okay.
It was a 3A back then. It's still a 3 or 4A. But they had a teacher or coach that was on a dual contract. So the guy that took him out of coaching and got mad. So I kept waiting on that. I'd interviewed at Midland. I went to Cuero and drove 7 hours, and Bill drove me around. And Mickey was out of town. I'd never met Mickey.
So Mickey was a head coach at that time.
He was head coach. So I never met Mickey Finley.
Yes.
And so I saw him talking at the clinic one time. And so I go down there, Bill, and I'm looking to pay. I'm going to take about a $10,000 cut in pay. Okay? Because I was back then you could be on the career ladder. Like if you did so well, evaluate, I was on like the career where I got $4,000. I had the master was $2,500. So I was already $6,500. They didn't pay both in Cuero.
Okay.
So, and my wife was a teacher, so she was going to lose no money. But I kept waiting on Greenwood, so finally I told her, I'm going to Cuero, and then the guy finally resigned. That's why I already took a job in Cuero. So when I first met Mickey, I drove all the way down there, and I knocked on the door of their meeting and came in. He said, can I help you? I said, well, yeah, I just drove 7 hours. I think I have a job here. and he said, oh, you're Stump. That's the first time I ever met Mickey. And that's how I ended up with Cuero through Bobby had told me. And then I met Bill when he drove me around and showed me around. And we went and told Sarah what I wanted my kids to kind of have the same experience I did in high school. I went to Lubbock, Monterey, and we pretty much won in everything. And Midland High was maybe a basketball, baseball. Lee was the football.
Yeah.
The track about the same. And so, but they had some new coaches in. I didn't care much for. I didn't like the way they treated kids. That was just me. And Justin, my oldest, was going to be starting tight end and a heck of a baseball player. And the assistant baseball coach, anyway, so he got real close to the assistant baseball coach. So we went to Cuero, and then the guy left, and Mickey said, give me a baseball coach. So I called the guy from Midland and brought him down. He coached Cuero, and he coached Justin his senior year, and he left and went to Kahoma and went to state 3 or 4 times at Kahoma, and then went to Birmingham. Wow. So, but that's how I ended up at Cuero, was through Bobby. It was open. Bobby said, I know a guy, and they said, think he'll come down here. He said, let me call him. They were on their place at the Devil's River fishing or something. Okay. And so that's how I ended up at Cuero. I went down, and I decided, maybe be a good place for the kids to maybe, do something special.
Coach, I in talking when you come into Cuero, I know I talked to Coach Littleton about on the podcast about that's the year that Port Isabel played that year, and he told me, remember they remember the year they beat us, but they don't remember the year before where they gave them. So was it during those 2 years you were there?
No,
already?
I came right after that.
Oh, okay.
Before that, Bobby had hit me up, but I didn't go.
Okay.
I didn't talk to him. I said, no, I'm okay. Then 94 and 93, they beat Port Isabel pretty bad.
Yes.
And in '94, there's a story to that, but I'm not going to go into it.
Okay.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
No.
But Quail, they tied, and I think Quail missed the extra point to make it 20 to, and then Port Isabel went down, tied it up 20-20, and won on penetration.
Back then.
Yeah, and they won, and then because when I got to PI, that's all I heard, 94, and I saw some film, and I'm like, I don't see anybody that looks like that on this field. There may be something that happened in the water, but no, yeah, they had went out of Cuero, and they told me this, you know, I kind of kept up. They got to the state championship, and then the next year, Port Isabel beat on penetration to the quarterfinals. The next year, they got in the semifinals. They dropped the pass in the end zone, playing Sealy, I believe. And Sealy won state that year.
Yes.
And so then we got there. So I heard the story.
So how long were you in Cuero then?
5 years.
5 years. Yeah. Okay. So let's say in your 5th year, you know, you guys are. I mean, Cuero's, the Gobblers are well known. Where did Port Isabel come into play? Like, how did that come about?
About Cuero. Cuero's a great place. That's the only place I never locked my door.
Really?
Yeah, people sell the porch way back there. It's really a good place. It was a neat place. But I was fixing to have, 2 kids at college, and so I couldn't make any more money in Cuero. Okay, because they didn't pay a whole lot. I made $100 more than my wife. I had a master's, she didn't. It was like, I think they were like 1,100 above base, and I got 1,200 out of master's. And I always took care of the kids. Always had good equipment, the whole thing. And I still got a lot of good friends there. A neat place. And so when we got there, I had 2. When Mickey left in '98, the year we went to the state championship game, and we should have won the damn thing. We had our chances. Inside the 5-yard line twice, they didn't score.
Really?
But
who was that against that time?
Alito.
They
beat us 14-7. And we were driving down near the end of the game. I don't think this kid had dropped a pass all year, and he wide open on the 10-yard line, went right through his hands. Well, we got down there, but it was a great opportunity, lucky to be there. And so Mickey had left and went to Arlington. And so I started flying around, and
you had decided, you had said, about making money, but along the way you said, I want to be a head coach.
Yeah, I want to be a head coach.
Because that was your,
when I was coaching. In Midland, I was in the Final 3 twice at Wall. I was in the finals at Floydada. But you see, I was coming from Midland High. Midland High wasn't really a great football.
Yeah.
5-5, 6-4, it was a good year for them. Okay. And a couple of years we got in the playoff, lost the coin toss. Got in the deal to do it, but we had to do the coin toss.
Yes, and that.
Like Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the film's not right. It wasn't Abilene. It was Midland, Lee, Midland High, and Permian. We all were 9-1. We lost the coin toss.
Oh, man.
And Permian and Lee got
in.
And then we were another year or 2, and then we lost the coin toss because we were only taking 2 people. God. And but it was so. I'd always wanted to be a head coach. So when Mickey was leaving, he wanted to be able to go. If one of us applied for the job, he wanted to take the other.
Okay.
If I win, he would do the defense. I would do the offense. If Bill win, he'd do the offense. We'll do the defense. Whatever. And Bill was going to try to apply for the job. He applied for it. And my youngest son, Jake, was a really good offensive lineman, but Jake's about 5'9", 5'10", about 190. In Arlington, they're like 6'5", about 270. And we liked it there. And so I was in the Final 3 at Liberty Hill. The guy, Soup from Mahia, they got the Soup Mahia and they brought his coach. I think he lasted 1 year or 2 and they got rid of it. And Coach Vance took over. Of course, everything went wrong. And I told Bill, if he gets the job, I'll stay. And the Soup would ask me, I said, yeah. And so I wanted Jake to finish our youngest son.
Yes, sir.
Because he was, he had 2 really good years there as a starter. So for him, and we liked it there. And then he got that, and now two are gonna be out. So I had interviewed Jiminy. I think I had 6 or 7 interviews. I thought I was gonna get the Ballinger job, which is out by San Antonio.
Okay.
I was interviewing, and everybody's like, yeah, but I don't know if they're going, yeah, what an idiot, or yeah. But I'd interviewed at several places, and then Commerce had called me, and I called them back and said, hey, look, have y'all found who you want? They said, yeah. I said, well, okay. I appreciate the offer. So the soup called me back, and I said, well, no, ma'am, I appreciate it, but you've got who you want, and that's a 7-hour drive just to shoot the bulls.
Yeah.
So anyway, I found out Port Isabel was open. And I didn't know anything about Port Isabel. All I knew about Port Isabel was that they tied Cuero in '94 and went to the quarterfinal, the semifinal. That's all I knew. Then they beat them the year before. So I asked Bill, and he said, well, no, they get after it pretty good, whatever. So I did my research on it. I looked into it. And I said, well, you want to live down there? Well, I'd been there one time. I'd come down. I brought my mother-in-law, Sarah's niece and nephew, and the kids, and we went down and fished.
Okay.
I just remember going, but I can't tell you anything else about it. So anyway, I said, I'd like to live there, so I looked it up. So I applied. And I said, okay, I'll throw my name in the hat. And they called me. And so that's kind of how I got it. I went and interviewed. I was the last one. I didn't get out of there like 7 and 9. I got it like at 9 something. So then I drove back to Cuero, which is a 4-hour drive. I get home about 1 something. They called and said, can you come back? I didn't get to see the facilities or anything. Everybody else had got to see the facility. Can you come back? Yeah, so I pick a day. So we had track practice was over. I get my truck, drive back to Port Isabel. I see the facilities, and I go back. And they called me again. Can you maybe come down and talk money? So I'm thinking, well, maybe I got a shot. Yeah. So we come down. It's the first spring break, and my wife gets up in the morning, and I guess I was going to go meet with the soup. And I'd done some research what people were getting paid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she said, it looks like they're going to give the job to so-and-so. I guess there's news people here said, it looks like so-and-so's probably going to get the job. I said, well, okay, we got an interview, got to go to the island,
yes, sir.
And worst case, I'll just stay in Cuero. Not worst case, but I'll just keep looking. And so I went and talked to them about the deal. I was making, the most I could make at Cuero was $50,000. We got a raise because we painted the track. The line, we didn't paint it, but all the lines and everything, except like Bill and getting a professional to do the lane, like all around, but all the hurdle marks, all the little square, we painted after track practice. And, so anyway, I came back and visited with them again. So I went home. I didn't think nothing about it. And they called me, I guess a Tuesday night, we had a board meeting, said, what other job are you taking? I said, yeah. The only ones that offered, and I'd gone to see them work out a little bit, and I'd researched them, and I said, yeah, I'll take it. And that's how I ended up in Port Isabel.
Yeah. Okay. So that first year, how did it go that first year that you got back? Because did you move everything down? Did you live on Port Isabel? Mm-hmm. Okay. And you
called it the long gray house because it was a long gray house. It went like this.
Oh.
And I rented it, and probably not a good choice to send me down to find a place to live. But when I first moved out, one of the coaches had a place out. He had a garage. It was like an apartment. I stayed there for $100. And then when Sarah came down and Jake had graduated, then we found the house and we rented it, and it went okay. I found out that after my first year I found out that there was somebody making more money than I was already, which I thought, well, that's not right. AD makes the most money. Wherever I've been, AD makes the most money because that's the guy that's going to get fired.
Yes, sir.
And they're ahead of everything. And then two more coaches to pass me up the next year with 3 years of experience. So I remember going and talking to Dr. Munoz, a nice lady, Miss Dolores Munoz, really nice lady. And I told her, young man, this is going to happen, and that's not right. She said, well, you didn't ask. I said, well, I didn't think I had to ask because I was assuming the AD gets the most money, or the highest paid coach. Because I said, I'm going to be fired, and they're not.
True.
When I came, I couldn't bring anybody, but one guy retired, so I could bring one. So this is crazy, but to answer your question, wow, Coach, I had nothing to do with all that. I said, I tell you what, man, we're going to win, and I'll be back. Luckily, we won. And so that same year, the assistant soup, the guy that was the soup in Quero, Dr. Winkler, he retired. His wife was got the assistant soup's job in Neatville. So after my first year at Quero, I mean, we went 8-4. We should have been 9-3. We played Yoakum tough. You know, it was 0-0. And one of my kids got hurt, and they broke one run on us. They played it perfect all night long. And the one time we didn't, but the kids realized they could play with those people. That was the main thing. But so Neatville had called me. I applied. So I said, what the hey? And they called me for an interview. They were paying $65. I was making $55 at Quero. And there was one guy already making 61, and there was going to be two more going to pass me up, which I just didn't think was right. Not that I'm worth a lot of money. It's just if I'm going to be the head guy, I'm the one who should get the most. I'm the one who's getting all the heat.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So I'll never forget Dr. Munoz called me and said, you got an interview in Neatville? Yes, ma'am. Well, you can't go. Oh, yeah, ma'am, I can go. You got to come to my office. Okay, so I went over, and she said, what would it take? I said, well, I don't know what I'm worth, ma'am. I'm just saying I shouldn't be the third highest paid coach on the staff. She wrote down a number in a piece of paper like that. It's okay, ma'am, I'm good.
You're good.
I got a raise. But no, that was our first year. We're good. You know, we had about 75 or 80 kids out, and then we started getting more out, and you know, we tied for the district championship, and you know, they went 2 rounds and had a chance to go 3. You know, but you know, they finally started figuring out, you know, they could play with people. So the first year was, I mean, it was better than. It could have been better, but it could have been worse.
Gotcha. So, as you moving along and playing, as you keep playing, I mean, you're that years you were in what, against Rio Hondo?
It was 17. Let's say it was Rio Hondo, La Feria, Hidalgo, Lyford, Raymondville, Santa Rosa, us. And that was it. I think. Zapata wasn't in it yet.
Yes. Okay. Because I remember Zapata was.
I think it was a 6 or 17. Santa Rosa was, and then the next year they went down.
Yeah, they were 2As.
Because Elvis was the head coach there. God rest his soul, Elvis Hernandez.
Yes, Elvis Hernandez. Yes,
and yeah, I think that was it. I don't think I left anybody out.
When you said that somebody was retiring and you came down, was it somebody from Cuero you brought down, or you didn't bring anybody down?
No, there were a couple of guys. One guy wanted to come from Cuero, but he just got divorced, and he was from he ran track at Ansel State, hell of a hurdler and triple jumper, and now he's in that area. But he got divorced, and his kids were going to be around the Abilene area, and that was too far.
Gotcha.
And then he ended up marrying one of the coaches' their sister, and now he's got custody of his kids. He's DC at been in DC at right now, brain dead. He was at Schulenburg. I'll think of it in a minute. But he's been there for, it's all in that area. But I was going to bring him. There's another guy, but he was trying to get certified. And so it was just me, and they said I could bring, can't remember the guy's name, Wilford, Coach Wilford. Was retired, and so met some guy that he coached and used to coach fast, God rest his soul, and hired him went and ate at Tom and Jerry's and hired him. And then the basketball coach left in the summer. I knew him. He'd been the coach at Midland Lee when I was there. He got the job at Rockport, assistant AD, so I was able to bring in the summer on a guy, football, basketball. When I first went, I could bring one guy. That was it. And nobody, the Quero people, if Pope hadn't if he hadn't got divorced, he would have come. He was a good coach.
So, Coach, so let's talk about as you let's go down to the 2002 season.
The
2002 season where you went 2 rounds, right?
2002 we went 3.
3.
Yeah.
Because 2003 you went to this. Oh yeah, it was 3 rounds in the following years when you went to the semifinals.
Yeah, I had Bandera. Sure, I thought we had it. They won state that year, and they beat Greenwood.
Oh,
because that guy called me, the guy Greenwood, that year. He said, "I know you don't want to hear this. We should be playing you." I said, "No, I don't want to hear it." But yeah, the second round, we went 3. We played Bandera. Heck of a game. We lost 27-24. I could tell you why we should have won the damn thing, but we didn't. But they went on and won the state championship. Bandera did there, and that's when it kind of took off. We played Yoakum. They were talking about because they had some bigger kids. Quail Yoakum big rivals. Kept telling them, we playing we're gonna be all right. So, when they played, they started saying, "Okay." I remember after the game, I told them we'll be back, and they started getting a little confidence. And then Bandera, the next year, Bandera won state. And the kids were telling me, I'm not saying that, Coach, that could have been us. Well, I've tried to tell y'all that. So they started kind of believing they could play with people outside the valley. They could compete with those type of people. Okay, and that's kind of where they started getting a lot more confidence.
So in 2002, how many came back from the following year to come to 2003? Did you have plenty of players coming back?
Let's see. Gotta think.
Oh, no problem.
Gabriel, Johnny, Missile, Rat. That's Joe. Call it Rat. I think we probably. I don't think how many we lost. We had a few coming back. I know Joey had left, so I had like the quarterback, the fullback, some linemen. I don't know, maybe five maybe. I think it's hard for me to remember that far back, but the quarterback was back. Nitro, Johnny Neto was back. Missile was a receiver. We had to make him running back. Joe was a receiver. They were DBs. Had a couple of linemen. 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 linemen. We had, we probably had five on each side. I'd say we had a lot of kids going both ways. Also.
That usually.
So I would say something like that probably.
It goes as you're going through the season, and I mean, as a coach, you're thinking, okay, I think we got something going here, right? As you're going through the season, and then you go to round 1, beat the brakes off somebody, and then you go to the next round. What are you thinking at that time? You're thinking, okay, or do you changing? Do you keep everything consistent? Do you keep?
We just doing what we do. We're gonna do what we do. Times have changed. Back then, a lot of people weren't throwing all the screens and all the wide open so much. So and I had kids who could play man defense. So we'd bring the house and man up.
Okay.
But then people like evolved and doing other things. You had to change a little bit. But no, we thought. Even the first year, I thought we should have been 3 rounds. We had a chance to beat Yoakum, but we didn't. And then we had a chance to beat Bandera. I mean, we dropped a pass in the end zone, and then we had to play set up near the end of the game where our Missile was wide open in the middle, and we slipped on the turf. He throws it, we catch it, it's over. We're in a quarter. But, it's part of the game. Mm. So we thought we had some good kids coming back. The kids had a good, been working hard. We had more kids out. We had after that, we had over 100 every time. And then we knew we could run. We had some speed. You got to have some, speed kills, so to speak. And you got to have some speed. I always tell people, if I could put speed kills in every direction, I probably would. But, we had some linemen come out. We thought we had a chance to have a pretty good football team, And we started out, and Lyford beat us. And it's not to say, but we had a coach that found out he had cancer. And that kind of shook everybody up. And so we're playing Lyford. And before we went, I remember one of the coaches, Coach Plater, told me we never played well in Lyford, ever. I don't think much about it. Before the game, Coach Burcham showed up. And everybody was like, blah. And we didn't play very well. And they beat us. And then we went down to foul. And that's when we discovered Bissell. We didn't play very well at all. And Josue got hurt, so we put Bissell back there, and he broke a couple of runs. Bissell didn't have any shake or bake. He just said, you know. And so we didn't play very well. And then I'm like, dang, you know. And then so we're kind of going through it, and we're like, you know, what the heck? You know, you can't be doing certain things. And then as we went, there was some adjustment. Okay, we need to start doing this, that kind of stuff. And so the teams that beat us shouldn't have beat us.
Gotcha.
But, you know, you got to play and all that. So now, which is good, you know, give you a little attitude adjustment and all that. So we got in, and then here before was the Rangers Pass. They were huge. Anyway, won the first round, second round. The third round, we're playing Liberty Hill and Seguin. And they had run the slot tee, and they run it quite well. And Coach Vance, and I watched 5 films on them. They'd thrown 4 passes. Well, we shut down the run. And then we kept telling them, but read your keys. And then when they started throwing, everybody was open. Because everybody was coming for the run.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turned out to be a really good game. We beat them 35-27 or 37-28 or something like that. 35-28 or 35-27. And they were driving, and Jose Trail, because of the Fumble Out Band, they ran that sweep, and he came off the edge and blew everything up. There's a big pileup, kind of like that movie, The Fumble Out Guy, and he comes up holding the ball. And we beat Liberty Hill. And then, you know, now we're playing Rice Consolidated. And the head coach of Rice Consolidated, we coached together in Cuero.
Really?
And his brother was with us at Cuero, and his brother was his offensive coordinator. They had left, after my first year at Cuero, they had left and got head jobs.
Okay.
And then this one came back with the brother. And the dad had been there too, the Roarks, Pop. Rusty was head coach. And they were huge. And I remember telling the kids all week, they're like, Cole, I said, look, if we win 5 points at halftime, we're going to beat them. Well, it was 26-21 at half. Every kid walked by me and said, Coach, we're going to win within 5 points. I just made that up, you know, trying to help them out, you know, okay, because I knew these guys were good, and they were big. I had a picture of when Johnny Neto scored, and you could see the guy's calves about that big around, you know, and they were huge. And about the second play of the game, they go, oh, Jiminy, a big running back. He was a Division I, but he didn't have the grades. He had going to junior college. He was like 6'2", about 230.
Wow.
They ran a lead. He busted that thing. I'm like, crud. We get the ball. About 3 plays later, we score. I said, okay, now we're going to track me. Not much defense that game. Anyway, and then we won that with the 4 overtimes and all that, and a lot of good stories in that game. But
in the 4 overtimes, was it like you get the ball to 25, go in?
Yeah, the 20. Yeah, and really, when I went back and looked at the film, really got the shafted because when they tied it to going over to start overtime, it was 35-33, I think. They went for 2, and we tackled the quarterback. He was a tall guy. Both his knees he's down on both knees on the 2-yard line, and reached across and they gave it to him. And I know that to a buddy of mine that Coach Cuero said, "Watch the film, man. You got cheated." Sure enough. Yeah. Well, not cheated, but they missed the call. Yeah, that was a heck of a game. And then, but it took its toll on us. I had like 6 starters didn't even work out that week. They were so beat up because they were big and they were physical, and you know, just everything kind of aligned, you know, and they couldn't adjust, and it was like crazy. We'd catch it, they would score, we would score, they would score. It was just like track meet, like a 5-hour game or whatever. At that time, I think it was the highest scored playoff game ever. But anyway, you know, I just never forget, we had a 4th down and we got to score or it's over. Yeah, I remember we called timeout, and I said, everybody in the stadium knows what we're going to run. And Johnny Neto said, special be tied 39 pitch. Yep, I'll score, Coach. He walked in, untouched. I was like, dang. But everything kind of fell in place for them, and it was kind of the underdog story. We weren't supposed to beat these guys, and they were a good, very good football team. And we went to Marlin, and we were fast. They were faster. But I remember we had some kids hurt. We misplayed a couple of things in the first half. I'm not saying we beat them because they were good, and they were probably better than others. They had 3 or 4 Division I players and all that. We made 2 crucial mistakes that cost us 2 touchdowns, and we couldn't catch up, and we were beat up pretty good, but they were fast. And then we played Atlanta, who our DC his uncle is a coach at Atlanta, and his next door neighbor is one of my best friends growing up, which is a doctor in town.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyway, Atlanta beat them. Atlanta was faster than they were. They're the Jackrabbits. That's a good name for them because they won state and track too. But I mean, it was just one of those things. Every time we kind of sputtered during the season, and it just kind of all clicked at the end.
Did you feel like the community behind you? I mean, did you feel like everything just?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I told somebody. I'll never forget. The Friday nights there. It's just like a sea of blue. And I remember looking at that game, and I mean, this is like a 5-hour game. And I turned around, it's over, looking, and the stands are still full, but nothing but that blue. And they're behind those kids. And I mean, it's always had a lot of people. Always had the support there. I love Port Isabel, so got a lot of great friends there. I'm always pulling for them, unless I'm playing them. And the support was, it's good, and it's like everywhere else. You got, come on, coach, what are you doing? One day you're, a hero. The next day you're not. But no, it's a
that comes right. It comes.
It just comes with the territory, and that stuff never bothered me. It's just about the kids, and the support that they have. I know every community says they got it, but I'm telling you, they got it.
You got it. So how long were you after that 2003 season? You helped a couple more years. I think you were in Port Isabel.
I was there 16.
16. Oh wow. Then from there, you wanted to go to Hidalgo, or you started saying, let me find somewhere else?
Well, I just, I don't know how you say it, politics.
I got you. I mean, that's fine.
It comes with the profession. I know they called me in, and Coach, Warren wants to go another direction. I said, okay, that's the deal. One of the reasons, that's what they told me. No reasons, Coach, you do a great job. You've been here too long.
Wow.
So it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's part of the deal.
Yes,
they wanted to change, and I don't know why, but I mean, that's what they wanted, and so, which goes with it. Part of being a head coach, sometimes you.
I think you go if you like the way you talked about in the very beginning, because at the end of the day, you're going to be. We talked about the money part situation, because you're the one who's going to get fired, or get reassigned or whatever.
And what they did, they used to take action on my contract. That way, they didn't have to give me a reason.
I got you.
And that's just my own personal opinion, but that's what happened to me. And that's fine. I mean, that's. And I've always said before, and I told them before, if y'all not happy if y'all don't like me here, don't want me, just tell me. Gotcha. And I'll try to find another job. I mean, I've always had that. I'm going to do my best I can for you. If I'm not doing what you think I need, or you want to go another direction, just come tell me, and I'll go, okay, thank you for the opportunity. And they did. They gave me my first opportunity to be a head coach AD, and I always remember that, and very thankful for that. I always thought I'd retire there, but things happen in this profession. That's the way it is.
Yes.
And so I wasn't ready to retire, but when a choice like that is pretty much either if you don't do anything, then you apply. Then when you apply, you got to say you were non-renewed. Okay, or you got to retire, or you got to get another job. And so Hidalgo called me if I was interested. And I always thought that they had a chance to win because they were always big. They always had some good-looking kids. And I talked to St. Joe because as all the years as at PI, and I loved every one of them. I would always try me. I'd visit with old Mammy Garza, been there forever, and at St. Joe about, if I retire, maybe I could come over and help out, just whatever. And so I talked to Tino, and they kind of waited. So it's going to be like 2 or 3 months. I said, well, I can't wait 2 or 3 months. I really thought I was just going to go there. And then Hidalgo called me, and I said, and almost didn't take it because it's a 5-2 vote. But I wanted to coach. I thought they had a chance to win, and or could make them competitive. I'm not saying they would be a world champion or anything like that, but I didn't really know much about it. I just knew I thought they should have done better than they did, and so I took that job. I'll never forget people telling me, "You'll never win there. You'll never win district. You'll never get the playoffs." Well, we did all 3, and some really good kids there. Kids are kids. And kids are messing up, and damn adults. And the kids worked hard. They bought in, and the coaches I had there that coached football, they bought in. They had to, go through some of my rants and my tirades, and but we were going to try to turn that thing around, and we did. And there's a lot of coaches there that were a big part of that, and a lot of kids. And they busted their tails and they bought in, and so it was that's why we went there to Hidalgo. I mean, they wanted to change the Port Isabel, and so that was that. I just remember telling the kids, you keep working hard because I'm gonna get a job, and if I'm playing you, I'm gonna beat you. and we beat them.
Yes,
but
sir.
but it's just it's in this profession, it just happens, and was I happy about it? No, but that's a choice they made, and you respect that, and now I could sit around and whine or feel sorry for myself or go out and find something to keep working, and I for 6 years I drove to Hidalgo all the time.
That's about an hour.
It should take me about an hour 20 minutes over, an hour 20 minutes back.
That's good.
And so it was, but and it was just, that we went there. There's some bad things that happened there, but the thing I was proud of the most, I guess, is everywhere I've been as an AD, we were always nominated for Program of the Year.
Awesome.
Which tells us that I'm not just about football. That's the total athletic program. And I think 4 out of 5 years they started doing it, we got a PI, and if COVID don't hit, we'd have got 2 or 3 at Hidalgo because we were getting the playoffs and everything. And that's what a thing that I like is, we were able to be a total program, recognized as a total program, not just a football or not just a basketball. And that's something that I worked on because my all-season program is for boys and girls.
Okay.
And so it's not just everything. I mean, it's and that part, I was proud of it. We were able to do that.
I want to talk about this because I talked with Coach Israel Gracia about this. Is that before you got to Hidalgo, you would go to Arnie's and I would see Israel Gracia there, and Israel Gracia was in La Villa at that time.
I met him first when he was at Rio Hondo.
Okay,
He was the track coach at Rio Hondo, and I always thought he did a real good job.
And I remember I would see you all I remember one time I walked in, I saw you there, and then I saw him there, and then like a week later, I think I walked back in and I saw you all again, but different tables. And I remember I asked them I said, did you all make a deal? Because I remember like 2 weeks later, it came on the paper that Israel Gracia was leaving and going to Hidalgo. I think he was in La Villa, or I heard.
Yeah, he was in La Villa.
And then he went to Hidalgo, and I said, I wonder if they ever made those deals, or those coaching things.
I was there sitting at Artie's eating wings.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I got a napkin. I said, show me how you do this. Show me how to do that.
And he
said, sure, if you want it. And I think he had an opportunity to go to Port Isabel.
Oh, okay.
So he went with me.
Hey, that's.
I told him he probably lost his mind. I said, "You're going to go to Hidalgo and Port Isabel," but it worked out for Izzy. He did a really good job, and he got the Santa Maria job, and did a really good job there. And then, got the shaft. I mean, I don't care. He got the shaft over there, and he did a really good job. And he's retired. Now I think he's going to be the guy at MMA.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing too.
I keep hearing he was talking to him. I know that, but yeah, Izzy did a real good job for me. He did a real good job at. I used to give him a hard time. I said, "Yeah, your son's favorite play was a pitch," but Izzy did a really good job for me. We got to be pretty good buddies, and he did a really good job. And he did a really good job at Santa Maria.
I remember him because he was my first person on the podcast, and he says, "Oh, you're going to get Coach Monty Stumbaugh," and I said, "Well, if he ever says yes, I will definitely have him on here." Coach, you leave Hidalgo, and did you think at that time, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get 40 some years of coaching, or 30? You were probably at 30 something years coaching. Did you decide, maybe I'm gonna take a break from coaching?
What I got, that was my 44th year, and we made it. The first 2 years we struggled a little bit trying to get them going, and then we've been in 3 years in a row. Had a district championship, played the district championship 3 years in a row, and should have won it all dang 3 years, and then. My last year there, if we get in the playoffs, it had never been done there. We had a lot of kids go both ways. We ended up having 7 two-way starters hurt, and so we went 5-5. If they don't get hurt, we're in the playoffs. They make history there, those kids, because we lost our whole offensive line but one guy, my quarterback, my running back, and the rest of the kids played their buns off. But, it is what it is. But I was like, I've been doing it 44 years, and I was like, I was thinking about leaving anyway, because we had a lot of kids. We had almost 100 kids every year at Hidalgo. And I said, I was tired of driving.
Yeah, that hour and 20 takes a toll.
And I was like, maybe something will open up closer to home. And then I was like, I'll just get out. Nothing really opened up, so I said, I'll just retire. And I'd had a chance. Brownsville Vets had talked to me about being their DC the year they went to the semis, but I'd retiring, and if I did, I retired. I couldn't work full time.
Yeah.
So, and I got offered a couple of things, but I said, I'm just going to sit out a year, and then if I want to go back, I will. And so I set out then to June 23, I retired, and then I guess March 24, I was watching Cade play 707 over in Brownsville. Tino hit me up. Hey, I'd like for you to help us in spring training. I didn't know they could do pads in spring training at St. Joe, but Tabs can. I said, I said, I don't mind helping you spring and help you out next year. I said, well, it's okay that I'd watch all his games. So I said, I'll visit with you. So I went and talked to him and said, look, I'll help you, but I can only come to games when Kay's not playing. Because Luke was playing on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
So no big deal. I could go watch Luke on Thursday. And they said, no, we want you here. I said, okay. So I was there Monday through Thursday. I would do everything. If Cade was playing, then I went into a game. And then Saturday, Sunday, I was there with them. So what happened, I would watch them when Los Frenos on offense, I was watching St. Joe.
No.
When Los Frenos on defense, I was watching Cade. And then it's crazy. The DC had a watch where you could get your tag. And then they'd call me at halftime, and we would talk at halftime, what we saw, what I saw, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. And then go, yeah.
Awesome. Hey, that's something. So, I bet you not a lot of people knew that was happening.
Yeah,
Nobody knew.
My family knew because they see me on the phone. Nobody else knew what I was doing. So I would be watching that, and then I'd kind of be standing down there, and I'd be doing and Justin and his buddy would be looking at me. I said, St. Joe. But they hit me up, and And so I helped them out. That spring, I helped them out in the summer. I put them on a weight program, a different type of weight program, I guess, than they were doing. And then helped them during football. And then in January 2001, I want you to put everybody on what you did. So, okay, so I put the boys and girls on an off-season program and started for them. And then I'll helping them this summer, and I'll help them again next year. Yeah, keeps me out of the house, keeps me busy.
Coach, so let's go back to when you were the head coach and stuff. Did you have like a specific like game day routine? Like, is there certain things like, I'm talking to other head coaches and some like, hey, I'm always watching huddle, trying to pick the last things, or I go eat with my wife at lunch to make sure, because I'm not going to see her for a while and stuff. Did you have some type of routine that you had to do that day of a game?
Me, I always worked out in the morning, and then I always had Whataburger at lunch. I was gonna have it, and then I would. The kids would come out. And they had the coach would watch them. I'd shut my door. I'd turn out my light. I had a little light I could put on my desk, and I would just look back over my notes. That's pretty much it. I didn't go back and watch any film. The hay's in the barn. I mean, it's too late to change.
I got you.
And so I'll just go back over the things that I thought we could do to them, or how we could stop them, or whatever. And just review it in my head a little bit. Yeah, that was pretty much nothing fancy. Just got a little piece of quiet time for myself, and got a number 2 at Whataburger.
Number 2. If we were to ask some of your players, what's one thing you always said during practice? What do you think that would be?
What's what now?
Like you're in practice, what's one thing you always? If I ask one of your former players, say, what did Coach Stumbaugh always say during practice?
I'll probably tell you it's not rocket science.
You would always tell them that.
They do something not rocket science, son. They either tell you that or turn it up.
Turn it up. As kids play and playing for you and stuff, not everybody starts. Never in varsity levels. Some people don't touch the field. What if you have somebody comes to you and say, Coach, I want to quit? What would you talk to them? Because you have some players that they may not touch the field. They may, but what would you talk to them about?
Well, first of all, I talked about before they go, every kid needs to know their role. Okay, what their role for your team is. Okay, and because I've had kids come in and I tell them, like, you go home and talk to your parents. You can either play, your parents want you to play, how I want you to play. If you can't play how I want to play, you can play for your parents' team. And they ain't got one.
Okay, gotcha.
But, no, I talked to them about, not quitting, trying to finish what you start. And, and I would tell them, okay, if you want more playing time, these are the things you got to do, okay? Like, because one of the things that we would test kids, strength, speed, and all that. So, some kids are, stronger, faster, whatever. I mainly just talk to them about what they got to do to get better, about, not quitting. There's going to be a lot rougher things in life than this,
True.
And, being able to handle it and work through it, and the things you can do to get better. And I've had kids that played for me for 4 years and maybe were on special teams their senior year. But, they stuck it out. And I'm always, have the kids finish what you start. And if you don't finish it, if you don't like it next year, then you don't play.
Don't play.
I'll help you if you want to do another sport. Whatever you want to do, I'll help you. But, always try to get them to finish what they start. Talk to them about the things that they could do to get better. Or why are we in this spot now? Okay, well, I didn't see you all summer.
Yeah.
Or, you didn't play 7-on-7. You can't make them, but you can tell the kids, okay, these are things you've got to do to get better. And then, okay, you can do this, or this, or that. But, I'm always trying to keep kids in the program, trying to find ways to, talk to them about quitting and not quitting and finishing and why do you want to quit?
Gotcha.
Tell me why you want to quit. Why I'm not playing? Okay, why don't you think you're playing? And some of them will tell you. Kids are pretty smart. Some of them will tell you, well, you like you better. No, ain't got nothing to do with that. Let's talk about, what do you think? But no, I've been very fortunate that, and I've had kids quit like anywhere else and try to talk them into staying and whatever, and they want to do something else, or maybe they're around the wrong crowd or whatever. But I've been fortunate, not that many have quit, and just try to keep them out, and finding something for them to do their niche. I've had kids that were not very good football players, but they're great powerlifters. And finding their little niche or what they're good at. But I just try to talk them into staying and try to find ways to help them get better. Because they're quit now, then they're gonna quit something else later on. Maybe I'm not saying they will, but it becomes.
It's like a life lesson type situation. You want life lesson. Coach, on this part of the podcast, I call this lasting impact. I reached out to some of your former players and coaches, and I always asked them to describe you in one word and then elaborate why they use that word. So I'm gonna tell you what they said first, and I'm gonna tell you who said it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The first one, it says work ethic. Coach Stumbaugh is a man who has always been committed and gives his all to his profession. His dedication to not only football, but all sports in his program is just one example of the passion this man has as an athletic director and head coach. He's a man with great values such as integrity, accountability, and honesty, which serve as a role model to players and coaches. These qualities have led him to have long-lasting impact on lives and on and off the field, on those who have had the privilege of playing or working under him. As a football coach, his knowledge and wisdom on both sides of the ball, his game planning and preparation has led him to be one of the most successful coaches in Texas. He has been an honor to know and serve under this Hall of Fame coach. That's from Coach Al Centeno.
Oh, wow. Al like my third son.
The next one, Coach, integrity. Coach is a man of integrity, and as one of his former players, he taught us that little things count in order to make big things happen. So never skipping reps in the weight room, running your gassers hard, practicing like you would play in the games, and always holding everyone accountable made my teammates and I push ourselves to the limit every football game. When I coached under Coach Stump, I could see him and his staff turn average football players into great football players. He was always able to squeeze out the full potential of his athletes and coaches. This is from Johnny Nitro Nieto.
Nitro, one of my favorite players of all time. Always smiling. What a good kid, man. Well, you're not a good kid. You're not a kid anymore. What a great kid, man.
The next one, Coach, empowering. Coach Stump taught us to believe in ourselves. He focused on what we had, speed and heart, and pushed us to reach a higher level. He made us feel like we could win, and because he believed in us, we did well. My favorite slogan was whatever it takes, because we had to overcome any obstacle thrown our way, however we could. That's from Misael Missile Iracheta.
Missile, yeah. That's my very first saying, whatever it takes. Yeah.
The next one, Coach, it says tenacious and prepared. They shared two words, tenacious and prepared. Coach Stump always taught us how to overcome obstacles that we thought were too big early in the season, especially always playing big schools all the time. Even though the outcome wasn't always what we wanted, but when district play came along, we were ready to go. Coach was big on film study opponents, tendencies, and personnel. He made sure we were prepared for anything our opponents throw away. This was Coach Joey Loera.
Oh, Joey. Well, nice. Joey was a guy had that kid had great vision. He never took a big hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Coach, it's clear that you made a significant impact on these individuals, and I want to know, how does it make you that you've influenced these in a positive way? How does it make you feel?
Before the Hall of Fame deal, Al, with some coaches came in, went to ate an island, and ran into a bunch of ex-kids. And I was telling somebody today, I think sometimes as coaches, maybe we don't realize the impact that we have on kids and what they have on you.
Yeah.
So, to me, that, it's like I told them, I hope I had as much impact on them as they had on me. Because, to spend my life and, I just never know. And, it's kind of like that's why you do it. For for the kids. And I remember I had a kid text me, "Congratulations, Coach. Thank you for not letting me drop out of school." And now the kid has his dream job. So, no, to hear those things, makes you sometimes think, well, maybe I did some good things.
Yes.
Maybe I was on the right track, or maybe I did some good to help somebody out. So, I was able to learn some really good people that helped me out, and I'm just hoping that maybe I was able to help out a few along the way.
Awesome. Because in working with these, Coach Lloyd, I work with him currently right now, and it's been nothing but great. But he talks a lot very high about you. Right before I want to switch it up a little bit. But they call you Coach. Some of these said Coach Stump.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that came about, or is it just something that?
When I was in high school, I had a coach that said it was like a tree stump. I was a little bit hard to move. So now with the college, and then people started calling me Stump, and then it could be from way back. They had a hard time saying Stumbaugh too.
Okay.
It was shorter, but that's where I got the nickname Stump in high school.
Okay.
And it kind of stuck with my buddies. Kind of started, and then the kids started calling. It's either Coach Stump or Old Man. The old man. And then I was one little group would call me Poppy. And so, I think it's kind of like a nickname for Stumbaugh.
Got you.
And but they can call me Coach Stump, Coach Stumbaugh. Just don't call me Monty.
Monty, I got you. I got you.
Them.
I got you, Coach, and I think I'm one of those too. My old teachers or coaches, I would always call them by Coach something. I won't ever call them by the first name.
I'll never forget when I was at Midland, I was head track coach, so the regional track meet was in Lubbock. So I would call my old high school, and the baseball coach was Coach Bobby Magel, who was a defensive coordinator when I was in high school. Okay. Well, Coach Bobby Magel was the winningest coach in the history of Texas high school baseball. Last year, the guy Callan passed him up.
Okay.
But he was, I don't know how many, like 11 or 1,200 wins. He made it to state like 7 or 8 times. Okay. So I would call, and I would go there, and he would come up, and I'd say, "Coach, thanks. Call me Bobby." No, Coach. You're Coach Magel. You're not Bobby. You're Coach Magel. Okay. Yeah, I agree. It's just, although coaches is a coach to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach, this one I'm gonna take away a little bit from football. We're gonna go. I call this one called 2-minute offense. I give you 2 things, and you decide which one you like, or you pick the one you like the most. Okay, it's called 2-minute offense. Here we go. Beach day or camping? Beach day or camping? Beach. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Cookies or chips?
Ooh. Chips.
Chips. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Even or out front?
Even.
Movies or TV shows?
TV show.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Texas summer or Texas winter?
Summer.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Christmas.
Mullet or mohawk?
Neither.
Peanut butter, crunchy or smooth?
Smooth.
Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
George Strait or George Jones?
George Strait.
Staubach or Bradshaw?
Bradshaw.
Text or call?
Call.
Onion rings or French fries?
Fries.
Barbecue or tacos?
Barbecue.
And the last one, Coach, do you believe in ghosts?
And ghosts? I don't know. That's I don't know. I don't think so. No.
I got you. Oh well, I usually ask this other one: does pineapple go on pizza?
It depends what else is on it.
All right, Coach. We talked about football. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk, and then you mentioned a little bit about this, which it's been awesome as the athletic director, because as an athletic director, it's the whole program.
Right.
When you were looking, let's say you're a head coach left for like volleyball, basketball, baseball, they left. What are you going to look? What would you look for when you had hire head coaches?
Well, the experience they have. Where they've been, the years of coach, experience, what kind of record or teams did they have, what kind of success did they have there. I would talk to the references to see. Some of them I may know, some may I not, because I've been told before somebody's great and hire them, and they just try to get rid of them.
Okay.
Which I've had that happen to me. But I'll be honest with you. No, just sit down, visit. I'm a pretty good judge of character, I think, and then talk what their philosophy is. Okay, what's their philosophy, their practice? Their weight program, because they're going to do my weight program.
Gotcha.
So that's it. They're going to do with that. The other days, that's your job. You can do whatever you're going to do with. You get them in shape, your skills, whatever. But twice a week, your girls are going to lift.
Yes.
Okay. The boys, baseball's going to lift. Football is up to 3 times, but everything. But no, it would just sit down, look at their resume, where they've been, the schools they've been at, I should say. The success they had, or maybe they were assistant in a winning program. I hired a girls basketball coach from Origin South. They did a pretty good job. He was an assistant there. Mm-hmm. It was, what kind of fire do they have? Are they like enthusiastic? Are they energetic? Fiery? Do they got that kind of personality? Or they just kind of laid back? Hands, because you coach with me, you can't. Your hands are not going to be in your pockets.
Gotcha.
Like I'm drinking a coffee. You're not going to be having your coffee in the gym with you. Gotcha. You're not going none of that stuff. You're going to be coaching, and so that's the kind of thing to look for. And I've hired people that have never been head coach, have done a good job. How they are around kids. How are they with kids?
Yeah.
How they treat the kids. Where they at? How were they with them? Was there trouble? Were they? That kind of stuff. But a lot of it goes on where they've been, their success, and I just like somebody who's got some a fire in their pants.
Gotcha.
It's got because you got to coach with emotion. To me, you got to coach with emotion. You got to have a fire. You got to have a passion. And kids feed on that. And it's sometimes I say you take the personality of your coach. But. That's what I look for, and how they treat the kids, and if you've been somewhere and you never won,
that's
it's a little different. But then again, it could be a place that doesn't have. I've had talked to people that had really good knowledge, but they weren't a very good people person, so to speak. If that might, just when you talk to them.
Yes, you got to get that figured. Coach, beyond wins and losses, how do you define a successful athletic program?
Besides winning and losses?
Yeah.
Well, no, I would think the number of kids you have out in your program. How many kids are in extracurricular athletics? Okay, in your total. How many are playing volleyball? How many are playing football? How many are playing softball, basketball, track, golf, tennis, the whole shebang, every sport? How many kids you got out? Are they getting better? Are they getting? I say better. Are they getting a little bit stronger? Are they getting a little bit faster, a little more explosive? Because I can tell you right now, when kids get stronger, their whole confidence changes. And just to see that kid get better, to me, I guess it would be, the kids want to be a part of your program. They want to be a part of something that's good, that's helping them get better, helping them get through life. Because these kids, they have a rough home life, and they need somebody there. They just, I've always said that there's some kids that need athletics sometimes more than athletics needs the kids. Gotcha. And, I would think if you got a lot of kids out and people enjoy coming to your program and playing and competing and those type of things, then to me, then you're having a pretty successful program. And where the other flip side is what? Nobody wants to come out.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so.
Coach, talk to us about the Rio Grande Hall of Fame. How did that go? Like you just get a phone call one day and said, hey.
Yeah, Coach John Lerma, he had called me. He told me it was before I want to put you in the City of Palms Hall of Honor. I said, okay, cool. I didn't think nothing about it. I mean, some of that's talk at the clinics, and how that goes. And I thought, okay. I didn't think anything about it. Well, he called me one day and said, Coach, I haven't put you in the Hall of Honor, have I? I said, no. I'm putting you in. I said, okay, well, I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. You know, it's a nice honor, and I appreciate it. About maybe 2 or 3 days later, he called again. I was driving. We were going out of town, maybe to San Antonio, see my other son or something. I don't remember. We were going out of town. And he called and said, hey, Coach, I got to say, I know, Coach, you told me I'm in the Hall of Honor. No, Coach. You're in the Rio Grande Valley Sports Hall of Fame. I said, what? He said, really? He said, yeah. I said, oh, okay. And I appreciate it. He told me, you know, so would get in touch with me and all this stuff. And so he's the one who called and told me. And I was driving to San Antonio. And I was like, dang. And I told my wife, Karen, I said, I always told you I was Hall of Fame in my own mind, you know. In my own mind. But no, Coach Stumbaugh had called me and told me. And I was like, dang. I mean, very honored and humbled, you know. I was like, to be a part of the Hall of Fame, to be a part of the Valley sports history, you know, just a little bit part that I'm part of, you know, and just it was a great honor to be inducted.
So all those three, you had no idea, it wasn't even crossed your mind about the Hall of Fame and stuff. It's just, yeah, no. That's.
No, I never, you know, people would always say, hey, man, you're Hall of Fame. No, I'm not in Hall of Fame. Well, you're not, no. Why not? Why? You know, people would ask me, I said, no. You know, I didn't, when I first started coaching, I never thought that I would get something like that. Okay. I never thought I would get, you know, so many wins, because I didn't get in it to be, okay, I'm gonna get 200 wins or 100 wins or 500 wins in basketball, whatever. You know, I got in it because I wanted to help kids, to coach kids, to, you know, help them be the best they can be, whatever that may be. And that's why I got in it. And then to see kids, you know, the smile on the face when they do well, or you know what I mean, they reach their goal or whatever case may be. You know, that's why I got in it. I never thought I would be like at a Hall of Fame. You know, I was very fortunate to be in some good places and learn from some good people. And it's like I told you, that Hall of Fame that's a lot of people in on that.
Yeah.
That the people that inspired me, the people that took me under the wing, like old coaches taking a young coach that, you know, sometimes young coaches think they know everything, and you realize you really don't.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me under the wing, and then, you know, then getting to Midland, and people took me, and then going to Cuero and Mickey, you know, giving me the chance to be an offensive coordinator when I was on the defensive side, you know, because I'd been defense, and I'd been offense, but I was mainly a defensive guy. And that's why offensively, I know where you should line up, you know, hopefully. But, you know, to give me that chance to do that, and then, you know, to go to Port Isabel to give me the opportunity to be an athletic director and football coach. And all the coaches that I coached with, all the coaches that coached with me, all the kids I was fortunate enough to coach. I mean, all that, you know, is why I'm in there. You know, sometimes I'm just like a sideline monitor, you know, a get back coach, you know. But no, I was very honored. But it's a whole. It's like you said earlier. All the kids, you never know until they come tell you.
Yeah.
And they start saying, and then you realize that, you know, these guys actually are listening to everything I said. Or you see them when they're out, they're all beefed up. And I'm like, where was that in high school?
Cool, yeah.
You know? Now you want to lift after high school's over. But no, that I'm there because of a lot of people, and I was fortunate to learn from some really good people. And you know, you take bits and pieces and you put it and put your own little twist on things. And I've taken a combination of different things and made my own little twist, and you know. And fortunately, I was able to win a few games.
Oh, hey, you're a legend, Coach. I'm saying that, Coach. I'm telling you, because I'm gonna say this. And when I started this podcast, you know, there was everybody says you're gonna get this person, you're gonna get this person. I said, I don't know, because if they may say no, and I'll be like, and Coach, when I talked to Coach Centeno was always, hey, you're gonna get Coach Stumbaugh. I said, look, if he says yes, I'm in. But I never. You know, but I said, well, I also coached his grandkids, so he saw what that was. He's probably like, I never want to see that guy ever again. But no, coach, and that's what I'm saying. It's a combination of a lot of people and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been, so I can say that I've had an NFL football player and I've had some legends I've got to talk to, and I appreciate that very much for you being here. And we're almost done. I got a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
What does Coach Stumbaugh do when he's not coaching?
Coach. That's a good question. When I retired, after about maybe 2 weeks, my wife told me, you need a job. This week she told me I was bored because St. Joe's off this week, so they took this week off.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going stir crazy. You know what? I used to fish a little bit, and when I had a boat, and then the motor went out, and it was going to cost me more than my boat. So a kid, daddy, that had his kid, and his kid's a game warden now.
Okay.
Angelo Bears, he used to take care of it, so he wanted to make it, so I sold it to him cheap. And so I used to fish a little bit. I used to golf a little bit, but I'm getting old, so I play one time. It takes about a week to recover. But right now I don't do much because I'm helping St. Joe in the morning.
Yeah. So you.
In the afternoons I'm working out Cade.
Okay, because Cade, for people who don't know, Coach Stumbaugh played for Los Ramos Falcons. Actually, I was fortunate to coach Cade in middle school, and he's going to Texas A&M Kingsville to pursue. I know he mentioned the other day pursue coaching. I don't know if it's true or not, or if he's still going that way. But right now he's getting ready to go for play in the fall. Correct?
Right.
Football.
Yeah, he's getting an opportunity to play football there. So we've been working out a bit. He's probably hiding from it because he's not running like he needs to be. But yes, he said he wants to be a coach, and he's pretty sharp when it comes to football. So I do that kind of right now. So that right now kind of takes up. I do that in the morning. And then whenever he gets off work, he's working on the island. And then on Fridays, I take a friend of mine's kid and Luke. And if Cade can go over, he's not working.
Markham as well.
And I take them out and do some speech stuff with them. Wow. I really don't. I mean, that's kind of why I'm still coaching. It's probably my hobby.
Gotcha.
But and that and go home and try to find a new movie or something on Netflix I hadn't seen yet.
I was going to ask this question, but I'm still going to ask it. If you did not become a coach, what would you have done for a career? Would a pharmacy? Would it have still been going down?
That would have been it. Yes.
Now we'll end with this before I ask one. I had two more. First, what do you feel is a common myth in coaching?
A what?
A common myth in coaching. Like, what do you think people think about coaching? And you think, well, that's not true.
Common myth? Man, I don't know. Everybody thinks they know everything. I think one of the common myths is that coaches aren't good teachers.
I got you.
Because you can't be a good teacher. You cannot be a good coach if you're not a good teacher. That's my opinion. Okay, if you can't teach, you're gonna have a hard time coaching because coaching is teaching.
That's very true.
So I would think of men, well, they're not very good teachers. And granted, there's some people that don't do squat, but I taught biology, and there's people that teach English and math. P's a little different, but you can still same thing. You can teach instead of rolling the ball out, And so, that I always hear that. Coach is not a good teacher. I said I beg to differ. A good coach is a good teacher.
Sure.
In my opinion.
No, hey, that's a great.
And that I would say maybe that's a myth, or another myth may be, well, you didn't play, so you don't know. Well, look at Mac Brown. He didn't play football, and he became pretty successful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I like the one where they're not good teachers. You're not a good coach if you're not a good teacher.
Coach, and with that, we're going to end the podcast. And is there anything you would like to share with the viewers, share with anybody? Anything, last words, or not words for the podcast you would like to talk about?
No, I just, I appreciate you having me on here, and I always tell people, they always say that, I'm a legend in my own mind, I just been very fortunate, to be able to do what I always tell people, find your career you want to do because you're going to do it for a while. So you better love it. and it's really not work. It's a passion, and no, I just think that been very fortunate to work with some really good people. I've had some really good kids. I got to start out my career as a head coach, AD, and football coach AD in a really good place in Port Isabel. I was very fortunate to do that. I was fortunate to get a job when I left Port Isabel, and I thought I was fortunate enough to, I think, to make an impact there. That we were able to make an impact there, and to be able to still help out with St. Joe, with Tino and those guys. Took me in, maybe part of their family. So, I've just been lucky, to be able to do this for 46 years, and I still like it, I still enjoy it, and when I don't enjoy it, then I'll get out. I still think I got about 3 more years left in me, maybe.
Awesome.
But no, I just appreciate you having me on, and I enjoy what I do, and hopefully I've been able to make an impact on people that made on me.
Appreciate it. Thanks again. Thank you, Coach Stumbaugh, for sharing your journey.
You
Coach.
bet
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to or viewing the One Time Out Left podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe to the One Time Out Left podcast channel on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. You can also follow us on social media to stay up to date with all the latest news and behind-the-scenes content. Find us on X, Instagram, and Facebook. A huge thank you goes out to Rosie Lopez for graciously allowing me to host the podcast at La Casita. Finally, I'd love to get your input. Do you have any questions you'd like me to ask in future episodes? Or is there a specific coach you'd love to see invited on the podcast as a guest? Let us know.